Hello everyone, Tally and Farrell here from Bored of It, and today we're going to be talking about charming animal-based game New York Zoo. The game is for 1 to 5 players and has some of the best animal meeples around, and you'll certainly have the chance to appreciate them as you collect a whole bunch in the race to fill your zoo. It's simple to learn but addictive to play. This game is great for a wide range of people. In essence, you'll be wanting to totally fill your park with irregular shaped tiles, which we will refer to as puzzle pieces from here on in. It's a race to the finish line and there can only be one winner. Sit. I win!
So if you're watching this video on the day it comes out, you might see that we are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, and it would really mean the world to us if we could hit that number. So if you enjoy this video, we would love it if you would like and subscribe, or if you've watched us before and haven't yet subscribed, it would mean so much to us to help us cross that big number.
On your turn, you can move the elephant forward a number of spaces, and this will change depending on the player count. Only the blue animal spaces and the puzzle piece spaces count as spaces when counting movement. Thus, on your turn, you'll always either go to a blue animal space or a puzzle piece space. If you go to a puzzle space, you take the top puzzle piece and put it into your park wherever you like. Then you have to place an animal onto that enclosure, either from another enclosure with excess animals or take one from your animal houses over here. A blue animal space lets you take the 2 animals shown or 1 animal of your choice. These can go either in your animal houses or in an enclosure with a matching animal.
Eventually, as you build your zoo, you'll hit a wall because you'll have gaps in your park that you won't be able to fill with the remaining puzzle pieces. Then the game becomes about animal breeding, because if you ever entirely fill an enclosure with one type of animal, they all go back to the supply, bar 1, which can go into your animal house if you have space for it. And then you can take an attraction tile, which you see over here. And as you can see, a lot of these are just gap filling tiles used to kind of plug holes in your zoo, but some of them are also quite big and can be used to fill in a lot of space in your park. And in addition, you also have what's called breeding lines around here. And when the elephant passes one, if you have at least 2 of that type of animal in an enclosure, they will do the dirty and produce a baby Animeeple. And it must be quite painful, what with all the splinters. You win the game when you're the first to fill in every space in your zoo. There is no second place.
Now we're going to dive right into the player count, because the gameplay does tend to change a bit depending on how many people are at the table. The area you have to fill is smaller the more players there are, but the number of puzzle pieces remains the same. In a 2 or 3 player game, the focus is on gaining the best puzzle pieces and the attractions come second. The area you have to fill is larger, but only a couple of the attraction tiles are bigger than the puzzle pieces. Towards the end of the game, the focus shifts to animal breeding as you try to fill the cracks in your zoo.
At 4 or 5 players, because you have a much smaller area to work with, you'll quickly discover that many of the puzzle pieces around this track are too big to fit anywhere in your park. If you don't start breeding almost from the beginning of the game, you probably won't be in it to win it. And essentially, it becomes much more important to get the right animals, to breed them, and to get these attraction tiles. This isn't to say that the game is better or worse at different player counts, it's just that the focus shifts. In our personal opinion, we actually prefer it at 2 or 3 players, because then the focus is on building your perfect park and grabbing the perfect puzzle pieces and putting everything nicely together. And this is just what we find more fun. And this is probably reflected as well by the fact that the Board Game Geek's best player count is also 3 players.
There are some small but interesting dilemmas to decide on moment to moment in gameplay. You need spare animals to put down puzzle pieces, but animals you pick up can also be placed straight into enclosures with matching animals, getting you closer to valuable and needed attraction tiles. You can also take animals out of enclosures and put them onto newly obtained puzzle pieces, allowing you to fill up your park space quicker than the other players, but with the caveat of making it harder for yourself to get attraction tiles.
New York Zoo is addictive, and we believe this is because each game you play will be its own personal little puzzle. And in the same way that a lot of people will find joy and relaxation in doing a puzzle, you'll get that same joy here. Although it's more like if every puzzle you did was a race, and if every race was against loved ones and friends, and if you didn't win that race, then all your animals will go to the glue factory, and your father will never love you because you're a failed zoo magnate.
What he's trying to say is that the race for victory ejects some adrenaline into an otherwise calm pastime and creates something exciting and engaging.
Was I trying to say that?
New York Zoo is more family orientated because there's not so much going on. Your choices are really only to grab animals or puzzle pieces, and even though micro decisions follow on from this, the gameplay isn't particularly strategic or variable. And at higher player counts, you're at the mercy of everyone else as to where you end up on the track and what you can get. If you're only into heavy Euro games with 60 decisions to make at any one time, this game probably isn't going to interest you.
Yeah, and you know, before we got this, I didn't think it was going to be a game that I enjoyed. Mainly because they're kind of having to fit puzzle pieces together and think ahead and like see what pieces you want and where they go. It's not a way my brain works, I guess, but I actually really enjoyed this game. And there's always space on our shelf for something that's, you know, nice, short, easy to learn, quick to play. And this covers all of those. And it's also a game that's great for, you know, anyone of any level of board game experience. And it's not a table hog either. This is actually a game that we've brought to the pub before to enjoy with some background atmosphere and over a pint. Before lockdown.
One big win for New York Zoo is the combination of price and components. All of the components ooze charm. I mean, look at all of these animal meeples. Each species has a different paint job and you get a tray full of animals. The puzzle pieces are coated with something and are glossy and strong, unlike the usual flimsy cardboard tokens. At the prices we've seen New York Zoo for, it's definitely worth the investment if this game has piqued your interest.
There isn't really too much we dislike about New York Zoo because it is what it is and it does what it does well. One thing that's a bit annoying is that the puzzle pieces have very similar colours of green, and if you're playing in low lighting, which is frickin' everywhere in Denmark, then you'll be unable to really tell them apart when you're setting it up and putting them away. But in terms of gameplay, there's not much to critique because it's a puzzle tile laying game and it does what it does well. There might not be the greatest longevity to the game, but you could also argue that because it's a race to the finish line, each play does have some excitement injected into it.
In summary, New York Zoo is a terrific addition to your collection if you're looking for an inexpensive, easygoing game full of charm and high production values. Also great if you love doing puzzles. Whilst New York Zoo is perfect for anyone, regardless of their level of experience, if this type of game is just not your thing, then what's provided here is not going to convince you otherwise.
We'd also like to note that this is a game we prefer to play at lower player counts because we feel like it allows us to focus more on the engaging elements of gameplay. And as a final note, hello Meg, we would like to add that no animals were harmed in the filming of this video, despite Meg's best attempts to brain herself by headbutting the floor every single time she sneezed during production.
Very violently.
And if you enjoyed this video, we would love it if you could like and subscribe. It really means a lot to us. And we really appreciate you watching and we hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, let us know down below. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.